All right, let's dive into this.
Yeah.
Dostoevsky, the Brothers Karamazov.
Okay.
We've got some pretty intense stuff to unpack here.
Yeah, we do.
First of all, I got to say, it's kind of fun that the source material we've got is all in Italian.
It's a unique twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be translating and discussing as we go.
Yeah.
But even just glancing at this, we're dealing with faith, guilt, redemption, social justice, some really messed up family dynamics.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you unpack this?
I am. It's fascinating how Dostoevsky takes these huge philosophical questions, faith, morality, and really grounds them in these like incredibly vivid characters and situations.
Right. And I think that's what makes it so compelling.
Exactly.
So let's jump right into it.
Okay.
One of the first things that grabbed me was this section where Fyodor Pavlovich, the father, is just needling Misov about his faith.
Oh, yeah.
Like just poking him. And Misov just explodes.
He can't take it.
Yeah, calling him like a stain on humanity.
Yeah.
It really sets the stage for like a dysfunctional family dynamic, doesn't it?
It really does. And right away we see this clash between like faith and cynicism, which I think is going to be a theme throughout the whole thing. You've got Misov, who represents this kind of like traditional, maybe even hypocritical form of faith.
Sure.
And then Fyodor is just like gleeful rejection of any kind of morality.
Yeah, like he takes pleasure in being the bad guy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then we've got Zosima, the elder at the monastery.
Right.
And he has this radical idea that the state should basically be absorbed by the church.
Wow.
Yeah. Any purpose outside of the church, he says, is like moot.
Yeah, it's a fascinating idea. It's like a total upheaval of how we normally think of church and state, separate. He wants to completely merge them. And I think that's setting up this really interesting contrast with Ivan, who we'll talk about later.
Right.
Ivan has very different ideas about faith and morality.
So, about Ivan Fyodorovich.
Right.
He's the one who argues that virtue is pointless without immortality.
Right.
Like, what's the point of being good if there's no eternal reward?
Yeah.
And he even admits.
This is the part that gets me.
I know.
That his writing, questioning God, that wasn't entirely a joke.
Oh, man.
So is he like a true nihilist?
Yeah, what is...
Or is there something else going on?
Go on there.
Dostoevsky is so good at, he presents these philosophical ideas like nihilism.
Yeah.
But not in some like abstract way. It's like through Eisen's actual like struggles, You really feel the turmoil.
Yeah.
Like, if there's no God, then anything goes.
Right.
But it seems like maybe Ivan hasn't fully like accepted that bleak worldview.
It's like he's wrestling with it.
Exactly.
Okay, and then things get even crazier.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Fyodor crashes this gathering at the monastery.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Like he just barges in.
Oh, God.
And he's mocking the monks, saying they, and I love this, they eat crawfish to buy God.
Oh, that's so Fyodor.
I know, right? Like he's just deliberately trying to provoke them.
Yeah.
But it's Zosima's response that I find so interesting.
Yeah.
He doesn't condemn Fyodor.
What? Yeah.
He prostrates himself at Dmitri's feet.
Whoa, hold on.
I know.
That's heavy.
It's interpreted as like an act of atonement for Dmitri's sins.
Whoa.
But it's such a loaded gesture.
Right.
Like, is Zosima saying he's responsible for other people's actions?
To what extent are we responsible for, each other's bad choices? Dostoevsky doesn't give you easy answers.
No, he doesn't.
But it makes you really confront the fact that our lives are all connected, Like what I do affects you, what you do affects...
It's a ripple effect.
Yeah, it ripples outwards.
Okay, speaking of complicated relationships, we've got Alyosha, the younger brother.
Right.
And he has this encounter with a woman in the garden.
Okay.
Turns out it's Grushenka.
Grushenka, all right.
And what's interesting is the detail that catches his eye. The long train on her dress.
Interesting.
Right, which Rakitin had mentioned earlier, but in like a kind of sleazy way.
I see.
So it's like we're seeing the same person through these totally different lenses.
Yeah.
Rakitin is judging her, reducing her.
Right.
But Alyosha, he's approaching her with like curiosity.
Yeah, he's open.
Yeah, and maybe even a bit of, like, awe.
Interesting.
And then on top of that, we've got this
buckle up
love triangle.
Here we go.
Alyosha gets this letter from Katerina Ivanovna.
Okay.
Who is, like, head over heels for him.
Yeah.
She's confessing her feelings, talking about how much she regrets Dmitri's treatment of her.
This is messy.
It is. It's a big old mess.
Dostoevsky is like a master of weaving together these big ideas, like faith and morality.
Yep.
But he always brings it back to these really human, relatable relationships.
Right. So it's not just philosophy in a vacuum.
Exactly.
It's messy. It's real life.
It's real life.
And those relationships get even more tangled when Katerina finds out about Alyosha visiting Grushenka.
Oh, boy.
Right. She's jealous, but she's also, like, hoping that Dmitri will marry Grushenka.
Really?
Yeah, so she can be with Ivan.
Wow. Katerina is, like, such a complicated character. She wants love, but she's also trapped by her own, insecurities and pride.
Okay, got to squeeze in one more thing before we move on.
Okay, hit me.
Fyodor drops a bomb on Alyosha.
Uh-oh.
He's going to marry Grushenka.
What?
Yeah, he even boasts about how he's resisting old age.
This guy.
I know. And then he mentions some Sadean practices.
What does that even mean?
So Sadean references the Marquis de Sade, who is really into,
okay.
let's just say, exploring the darker sides of pleasure.
Okay.
It's not exactly dinner table conversation.
I get it.
But it really emphasizes how depraved Fyodor is.
Yeah, it definitely adds to his less than savory reputation.
Yeah, and it's such a contrast with Dmitri's desperation.
Right.
Dmitri is so obsessed with Grushenka that he's thinking about robbing his own father.
Wow. That's taking it to another level.
He even asks his old teacher if he's ever stolen anything.
Seeking some kind of validation, maybe.
Right, like, is this okay? But it shows how much his morals are getting twisted.
It's like this downward spiral. You see it with a lot of the characters, driven by greed, lust.
Yeah. Resentment.
And Dmitri becomes a symbol of that.
Right.
But there's still this part of me that feels for him.
I know what you mean.
Like, he's not evil, he's just...
flawed.
Yeah, flawed, impulsive.
And that's what makes Dostoevsky's character so interesting, right? They're not just good guys.
Right, they're more complex than that.
They're complicated people.
Yeah, and we have to figure out what makes them tick.
You got to grapple with their contradictions.
Okay, we've got to talk about Ivan, too.
Right.
A brother who's all about how virtue is meaningless.
Yeah.
Without immortality.
That's Ivan.
But he's got his own moral struggles.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe even more intense than Dmitri's.
Yeah, because for Ivan, it's like he's rejected God on an intellectual level.
Right.
But that has huge implications for his own, sense of right and wrong.
If there's no God, then what's stopping him from doing whatever he wants? That's the question that Smerdikov throws at him.
Oh, right. The house servant.
Yeah, he confesses to framing Dmitri for the murder.
For their father's murder.
Right, and then he's like, hey, Ivan, didn't you kind of want this too?
Yeah, and it just totally
gets under his skin.
Gets to Ivan.
It's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Smerdikov is playing mind games.
Totally.
He's making Ivan doubt himself.
Yeah.
Like forcing him to confront his own darkest thoughts.
And it goes back to that question of, like, are we responsible for the consequences?
Of our ideas.
Of our ideas.
Exactly.
Even if we didn't, like, physically do something?
Dostoevsky's saying our thoughts matter.
Yeah.
Words have power.
They can influence others.
Right.
So we can't just, like, wash our hands of it.
Yeah.
If something bad happens.
We're all connected, remember?
Right.
Our choices have consequences.
And for Ivan, this struggle with guilt leads to his breakdown.
It's not a sudden thing. It's like this slow unraveling.
Right.
Dostoevsky really shows the psychological torment.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
Okay, so we've got faith, guilt, morality.
Hit me with it.
But we can't forget justice.
Oh, yeah, the courtroom drama.
The courtroom scenes in the Brothers Karamazov are...
They're intense.
Legendary.
It's not just about the crime itself,
Yeah.
It's about the whole idea of justice, what it means, how it works or doesn't.
And we see that through Fedjukovich.
Dmitri's lawyer.
Yeah.
He's a master of
He is. He picks apart the prosecution's case. Point by point.
He knows how to play the jury.
But here's the thing.
What's that?
He's not necessarily concerned with the truth.
Really?
He just wants to win.
Wow.
So it makes you think.
It does.
can justice really be served?
Yeah.
If it's based on the best argument.
Rather than the facts?
Rather than what actually happened.
It's unsettling. Dostoevsky is suggesting that even the legal system, which is supposed to be objective, fair,
right,
it's still a human system,
right,
with all the flaws that come with that.
And the fact that Dmitri is found guilty?
Even with Fetyukovich?
Even with Fetyukovich.
Wow.
It just adds to that unease.
It's like, even with a good lawyer,
yeah,
justice isn't guaranteed.
Right.
Especially for people who are already judged by society.
It's a powerful statement about social injustice.
Still relevant today.
Totally.
Makes you think.
So we've covered a lot.
We have.
Faith, guilt, morality, justice.
What else is there? Well,
lay it on me.
There's one more big theme.
Okay, I'm ready.
Redemption.
All right.
And we'll dive into that in the next part, our deep dive.
Let's take a break.
Okay.
I need some tea.
Yeah, me too.
Back in a bit.
See ya. So we left off with Dmitri trying to win over Grushenka with this big party.
Yeah, lots of champagne, trying to impress her.
But it's interesting how different his approach is from Alyosha's.
Oh, totally. Dmitri's all about these grand gestures.
Right, outward displays of affection.
But Alyosha is like way more...
introspective.
Yeah.
Observant.
He seems to get that Grushenka needs something deeper.
Exactly. Dmitri's driven by passion.
Yeah.
This like almost primal need to possess her.
Right.
But Alyosha, he sees her as a person.
Right, a complex person.
Like her own inner life.
He's not trying to conquer her.
Yeah.
He's trying to connect with her.
And I think that's why Dmitri sees Alyosha as a threat.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because Alyosha represents a different kind of love.
Right, a love that's based on...
respect, empathy.
Exactly.
Not just desire.
And it all ties back to this big theme.
Yeah.
The nature of true love.
Right. Is it about passion and possession?
Yeah.
Or is it about something deeper?
Something more... I don't know, spiritual.
Dostoevsky seems to be saying that true love needs understanding, a willingness to see beyond the surface.
Okay, but we can't forget about Dmitri's financial problems.
Right, he's desperate.
Desperate. He's so fixated on Grushenka that he's actually thinking about robbing his own father.
No way.
I know. And he even asked his old teacher,
Pyotr Ilyich.
Yeah, have you ever stolen anything?
No.
Like he's looking for permission.
Right, almost like he needs someone to tell him it's okay.
It's messed up.
It is.
But it shows how much his obsession is twisting his morals.
Yeah, and it speaks to this bigger idea of moral decay. We see so many characters in the novel making bad choices, driven by greed, lust.
Resentment. Yeah. It's like this downward spiral.
And Dmitri, he becomes a symbol of that.
Right.
But even though he's making these terrible choices, there's still something about him that makes you feel for him.
Yeah, I get that.
He's not like pure evil.
No.
He's just
flawed.
Yeah, flawed, impulsive, human. That's what makes Dostoevsky's characters so great.
Yeah, it's that complex.
Not just heroes and villains.
Right.
They're real people.
We have to figure them out.
Grapple with their contradictions.
Okay, so we've got Dmitri on this downward spiral.
Right.
But let's not forget about Ivan.
Oh, yeah, Ivan.
The brother who's all, virtue is meaningless without immortality.
He's got his own struggles.
Oh, for sure.
And they're just as intense, maybe even more so.
Because for Ivan, it's like he's rejected God intellectually.
Right.
But that has huge consequences for how he sees right and wrong.
Absolutely.
And it's like, if there's no God, then what's to stop him from doing whatever he wants?
Exactly. And that's the question that Smerdyakov asks him.
Oh, yeah. The house servant.
Yeah, he confesses to framing Dmitri for the murder. And then he's like, hey, Ivan, deep down, you wanted this too, right?
It really gets under Ivan's skin.
Oh, yeah. It's like Smerdyakov is messing with his head.
Totally.
Making him doubt himself, confront his darkest thoughts.
And it goes back to what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Like, are we responsible for the consequences of our ideas?
Even if we didn't actually do the thing.
Right. Like, Ivan didn't kill his father.
But did his ideas contribute to it?
Wow.
That's what Dostoevsky's making us think about.
And for Ivan, this struggle with guilt, it just tears him apart, leads to his breakdown.
It's not a sudden thing.
Right. It's like this slow
unraveling.
Yeah.
Dostoevsky is a master at showing those psychological processes.
Okay, so we've got faith, guilt, morality.
We've covered a lot.
But there's another big theme in the Brothers Karamazov.
Okay, what is it?
Justice.
Oh, yeah, the courtroom scenes.
Those scenes are legendary.
They are.
Dostoevsky uses the trial.
Dimitri's trial.
Yeah, not just to look at the crime itself.
But to really examine the whole concept of justice.
Right, like what does it even mean?
Exactly. How does it work?
Or does it?
And we see all this through Fektukovich, Dimitri's lawyer.
He's amazing.
He's a master of words.
The way he just dissects the prosecution's case.
Point by point.
Yeah.
He knows how to play the jury.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
He doesn't really care about the truth.
Wait, what?
He just wants to win.
So it makes you think...
It does.
Can justice really be served?
Yeah.
If it's all about the best argument?
Right, not about what actually happened.
It's kind of unsettling.
It is.
Because Dostoevsky's suggesting that the legal system,
right,
which is supposed to be objective, fair,
right,
it's still a human system with all its flaws.
And the fact that Dmitri is found guilty.
Even with Fektukovich.
Even with Fektukovich.
Wow.
It just reinforces that feeling of, like...
unease.
Yeah, like justice isn't guaranteed.
Exactly. Even with a good lawyer.
Right, especially for people who are already...
Judged by society.
Judged by society.
It's a powerful commentary on social injustice.
And it still resonates today.
Oh, absolutely.
Makes you think.
It does. All right, so we've talked about faith, guilt, morality, justice.
Heavy stuff.
It is, but even with all the darkness, Dostoevsky gives us this, like, glimmer of hope.
Oh, yeah, you tell
Redemption.
Redemption.
A thread that runs through the whole novel, but it's most powerful, I think, with Alyosha.
Alyosha, yeah.
His brothers are all messed up.
Yeah.
Consumed by their passions, tortured by guilt. But Alyosha, he represents something different.
He does.
Compassion, forgiveness, this belief that people can change.
Okay, and we see that after Dimitri's trial, right?
Yeah, even though Dimitri's found guilty, sentenced to prison, Alyosha doesn't give up on him.
He doesn't.
He visits him in the hospital, offers him comfort, guidance.
It's like the legal system has condemned Dmitri.
Right.
But Alyosha sees something else.
He does.
He sees the possibility of redemption.
It's a turning point in the novel, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Because Alyosha recognizes that true judgment, it's not about human laws. It's about something deeper.
Something spiritual.
Yeah.
And his advice to Dmitri is so powerful.
Yeah, what does he say?
Accept your fate. Seek redemption through suffering.
Whoa.
It's not about punishment.
No.
It's about using that suffering to grow.
To transform.
Spiritually.
Alyosha understands that real redemption.
Yeah.
It means facing your darkness.
Acknowledging your mistakes.
Taking responsibility.
Yeah, and then there's that line, try to love life more than the meaning of life.
Whoa.
I get chills just thinking about it.
It's profound.
It's like he's saying, don't get lost in the big questions.
Yeah.
Just live.
Embrace the beauty of existence.
Even when it's hard.
Exactly.
Even when it hurts.
And it's a message that really resonates, you know?
Yeah, it does.
Because it's true. Life is precious, even when it's tough.
So what can we take away from all this?
What can we learn from Dostoevsky?
From his exploration of redemption?
I think it's a message of hope.
Okay.
Even when things are bad, even when we feel broken, there's always a chance to change.
Redemption's not about erasing the past.
No.
It's about becoming better.
Yeah, acknowledging our flaws, our imperfections.
Striving to be better.
And it's not easy, but it's worth it.
And we don't have to do it alone.
No, we need each other.
Just like Alyosha was there for Dmitri.
Right, offering compassion, guidance.
Belief in his ability to change.
And if you've found yourself, you know, really drawn to these snippets from the Brothers Karamazov, I highly recommend diving into the full novel.
It's an amazing experience.
It is.
It really makes you think about what it means to be human.
It's a journey into the depths of the soul.
Confronting our darkness.
But ultimately, a testament to the power of hope.
And redemption.
Exactly. Well, until next time.
Keep diving deep.
See you then.